10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello everyone. Hope you all are doing great and safe at your end. Welcome to the day 4 of pre-hackathon speaker session. Hack This Fall is hosting live workshops, talks, and discussions which have already started from 26th October and will end tomorrow. You can check out our website for a complete schedule. Now, coming on to the speaker session. In this talk, Eddie will cover what is open source and why you should get into it. Contributing in open source will help your skills and career to improve. He will further take a tour of how to get involved in open source and how one can make money from contributing to it. And with that being said, let me introduce you all to our speaker for the session. We have Eddie Jaoude joining us. Eddie believes.
Hi
Eddie
everyone.
believes.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Eddie believes open source is for everyone. Yes, you. Eddie has over 15 plus years experience as a full stack developer and has been selected by GitHub as one of their stars. Currently, there are 14 stars out of 40 million plus people on GitHub. Spending most of his time on GitHub or YouTube, you can usually find him contributing to open source, editing a video, or live streaming, encouraging you to get into open source. We welcome you, Eddie, and look forward to your talk. The virtual stage is all yours.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. Everyone watching, I hope you have lots of questions. It's my favorite part. So do ask questions as we go along. Put a Q in front of your question in the chat so I notice it. If I miss it, I'm really sorry, but one of the moderators will probably nudge me to let me know, and we'll have questions at the end as well. So I'm really excited. I think Abhishek stole my intro, so I'll skip on to the next bit. But thank you so much for that amazing introduction. I'm really excited to be here today.
We are equally excited. We are equally excited for the session, Eddie.
Great. Okay, so shall I get started?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Everyone watching, let's support Hack This Fall by giving this video a thumbs up, subscribe to their YouTube channel if you haven't already, and take a screenshot of my talk and share it on socials. Do tag them and tag me and share one thing that you learned, and I'll retweet it and get you a bit more exposure as well, which is where we get straight into open source. Because open source is social coding, but it's not just about code. And that's what we're going to get into. So as mentioned in this talk, we're going to talk about what is open source and why you should care, and how to accelerate your career, how you can make money from open source directly and indirectly. And I'm really looking forward to your questions. Right, a very, very brief bit about me, and then we will get into it. So this is my GitHub account. I've customized my GitHub account. I really hope you've customized yours. This will help you stand out, and we will talk about that shortly. I want to leave lots of time for questions. As mentioned, you can find me on YouTube, so do subscribe to my channel if you're interested in open source. I do things from GitHub Actions to tips with other collaborators to Vue, to loads of awesome things, and also some blooper reels as well of the terrible pull requests made during Hacktoberfest, which was quite funny. I was a GitHub star, which is an amazing honor to be. I've actually got a video on this coming out very soon. It's great to rub shoulders with other stars around the world, to collaborate with them, and also the GitHub team. It's great. And to get access to lots of beta features, which I'm going to show you shortly as well. We have a community on GitHub. So if you want to join, you want to get involved in open source, join our community. We have a Discord channel, and we have a community on GitHub, and would love for you to join. And you can ask your questions, and your questions add so much value. And we're going to get into that. Okay, right. Let's get into it. So, open source. As I mentioned, it's social coding, and it's like Instagram or Facebook, but on steroids. And that's really important because on Instagram, you can like a picture, you can put a comment, you can share it. But on GitHub, you can not only do those things, you can star a project, you can leave a comment on someone's issue, someone's pull request, some inline code, but also you can make changes to it. I know you can't make changes to people's pictures on Instagram, for example, but in someone's code, you can make changes to it. You can use it and adapt it to your own way. You might contribute those changes back. And I believe it's for everybody. You don't have to just be a coder. My entire team is on GitHub, and that includes technical writers to other writers to video editors. They're all on GitHub. That's how we manage our project. And I'm going to show you that in the GitHub project sections. It looks like Trello, but you can tie in your issues, all sorts of things. And so it's really, really important. So hopefully that gives you a brief understanding of what open source is. There are other platforms in addition to GitHub. I do want to mention that because people sometimes get upset and go, what about GitLab? What about Bitbucket? There are other platforms, but GitHub is the most popular one, and they've got some really interesting features coming out. I did do a video on their public roadmap with some features coming out this year, and I'll mention some as we go through this, and it's really exciting. I'll give you some preview into some as well. So why should you care about open source? You might think, well, I want to do my projects privately. I shouldn't care about it. Doing it publicly will help you tenfold. No joke. It really, really will. It will help you so much. And the reason why it will help you from so many different angles. One, it will help you collaborate better and communicate better. When I interview someone for my projects or for my client projects, I can tell if someone contributes to open source because they communicate very differently. They don't make all these assumptions that, oh, as we spoke last week, or from my message yesterday, I get like thousands of messages a day. Which message are you talking about? They will put a quote and say, following our message yesterday, and this is the message, I think of this, or I've done this, or whatever it is. But they're making it easier for the maintainer or for the other person to just consume and react to that message or that comment or that pull request, whatever it is, really easily. You're kind of spoon feeding it to the person, and it might sound like it's going to make it verbose. I'm not saying to write War and Peace, write a massive book on it, but just enough to make it so much easier. So that's really important. That's what I look for when I'm looking to hire people. I look at their GitHub. I'm not going to lie. I look at their GitHub. And for those of you who are watching, share your GitHub username in not the link. I don't think links will go through, but share your GitHub username in the chat. And maybe we can take a peek at some of your accounts towards the end if we get time. So it'll show me that you're still awake as well. But I don't just look for their latest code and is it the best I've ever seen. I don't look for that. I look for a few things. One, I look for, is their code today, whatever state it's in, is it better than it was a month ago? That shows me the person's learning. That's what I mostly care about. I don't really care about what state your code is in today. I mostly care about, is it better than it was before? And that's actually not my number one. That's actually my number two. My number one is I actually want to look for issues you've raised, pull requests you've raised, and more importantly, issues and pull requests that you've replied to or you've reviewed someone else's pull request. So I want to see how you collaborate with other people. Are you positive when giving constructive criticism, or are you beating someone down and saying, this is terrible, this is awful? Are you trying to make yourself look better than the other person, which is not what open source and collaboration is about? Even if I'm hiring someone for a non-open source project, I'm still looking at your open source contributions because I'm still looking, how can you collaborate with other people? Hey, Mikey, awesome to have you here. Thanks for your support, Mikey. Mikey's from my community, does lots of awesome work in our community. And, by getting involved in the conversation in the chat here, in the chat in Discord, in the chat on GitHub, you're appearing on people's radar. So the other benefit is you're growing your network. And imagine reaching out to someone cold on LinkedIn and they first see your name and you go, oh, let's connect. It's like, well, I don't recognize your name. I haven't seen you before. Let's not connect, kind of like move on. Whereas if you're active in the chat and your name on YouTube and Discord and GitHub are all the same, so it's easy for people to connect the dots, then if a connection does come in on LinkedIn as an example, or applying for a job or whatever whatever it is, if someone recognizes your name and they go, oh, that person, well, yeah, they were really helpful. They helped someone else, not necessarily me. They helped someone else, or I saw them being supportive. Then you know what? I'm going to look into this further and take it to the next level. Wouldn't it be great if when you applied for a job interview, you didn't really have an interview with them. You had more of a discussion, a meeting. So it makes it a lot easier for you because you already got one foot in the door. Even better, what happens if they came to you? The offers I get from GitHub, Google, Facebook, they've come to me. I haven't applied for them. They've come to me because of my open source work. And one of my biggest regret is not doing open source sooner. I've been doing it for 10 years, but I wish I started sooner. Imagine when I started open source, there was no GitHub. Everyone had their own servers scattered all over the place. And I had to sign up for this server and sign up for that server. It was a nightmare. So, GitHub definitely changed the landscape back then, and it's doing it again with some awesome new features at the moment. So you're going to accelerate your learnings. We talked about your collaboration, your network, and you're going to learn your technical skills. Your technical skills are going to get better. You don't just have to contribute to technologies that you know. Contribute to some technologies that you don't know. I mean, I got into open source like most people. I fixed the typo. My first pull request was fixing a typo. Okay, let's be honest here. My second and third and fourth, maybe my fifth pull request were fixing typos as well. But once I got into the flow, once I got used to it, because I love GitHub, I love the way they've done things, but it is a bit scary, especially as they add more features. It's getting a bit scary all the time, but you don't have to know all the features to begin with. You just need to know a few, just like with Git commands. And so have a look around. I want to show you how you can find issues and find projects by searching for labels and all the rest. But get involved in the conversation. And then when people know you want to make an effort and you want to contribute to their project, and by contribute, I mean add value. It's about adding value to an open source project, or even a closed source project as a company. We had someone on our team on a client project, and the client said to me, look, we're going to get rid of this person. They were hired as a tester, but they don't know what they're doing. And I said, let's give it a couple of weeks. Let's help them out. So I just started in the project. And they weren't a very good tester. And I wouldn't have hired them as a tester. When 2 weeks are up and my client said, look, I'm going to get rid of them, the entire team stood by that person and said, no, we don't want them to go, because they added value in other ways that the team couldn't. So it's really important to add value. I'm not saying get distracted. Everything you must do should add value to the project or to someone else on the project. And then if you have a bad day, a bad week, for whatever reason, you're not feeling well, or you've got family commitments, etc., and so on, and they'll stand up for you and they'll back you up because they know you add value. Don't get hung up on job titles and all those sorts of things. But I want you to stand out. Open source will help you accelerate your career and stand out. Okay, let me just check if I've got any questions. Okay, got some GitHub usernames, I think, and some links. Awesome. And thanks, Hackful, for sharing my YouTube channel. And I see accept my request to connect. I don't know where that request is. I'm guessing LinkedIn or something. I'll have a look later on. I'm not very good on LinkedIn and Instagram, so my apologies. Right, so we spoke about, technical skills, communication, network, and so on, and have people will approach you for projects, for a job, for an internship, whatever it is. Or even if you do approach them, at least they'll recognize your name from socials, or they'll when they look at your GitHub, they'll recognize, oh, he's done lots of amazing work. We really need this person. It's important to stand out, and you can do this across various platforms. But GitHub is, I think, the crown jewels for people in tech. I didn't just say coding, I said in tech. But you may think, wow, it's a lot of time, a lot of effort, open source, GitHub. It is a lot of time, a lot of effort, but don't think of it as this weekend, I'm going to do 100 hours. You couldn't do 100 hours this weekend. There's only like 48 hours in a weekend, but you know what I mean? If I see someone's GitHub profile and they've got all those green squares and blocks in one weekend or 1 week or whatever it is, and then it kind of goes dead the rest of the time, that doesn't inspire confidence. It's like brushing your teeth, little and often. So it's really important to do things little and often. You brush your teeth like twice a day. Do you really think about it? Do you worry in lunchtime and go, oh my God, tonight I've got to brush my teeth. Oh my God, it's so hard. No, you just do it little and often. And if you miss the day, your teeth aren't going to fall out. They're not going to go yellow. But over the time, over months, over years, the value to your teeth is enormous. And the same with GitHub and the same with open source. Think of it little and often. If every day you can do 15 minutes, 30 minutes, add value to someone's project or someone else on GitHub. Review someone's pull request. And you may think, oh, this project's in Python. I don't know Python. And I don't really know GitHub and I don't know what I'm doing. But your fresh pair of eyes can add so much value. All of you come over to our GitHub community and look at our projects. You can all add so much value no matter what your skills are, what your experience are, where you are in your career. Your fresh pair of eyes will add so much value because you'll see things that we don't. We'll jump gaps. We'll miss things because we'll know them. Whereas your fresh pair of eyes might say, well, this pull request hasn't updated the docs. It seems to have some new commands. You might not know what those commands are, but the docs haven't been updated. What do they mean? And that adds value because then in that pull request, we can make sure that documentation is updated. We can make sure the automated tests are updated. So your point of view can add so much value. Someone new to a project or new to tech adds so much value. All my client and open source projects, closed source projects, when anyone's new to the project, they say, right, tell us about the project. I go, no, I'm not. Look at the project and tell me what you think the project's about and how the project works. And if you can't do it, it's not your fault. It's my fault. It's our fault because we haven't lowered the barrier to entry for onboarding new people. And by having new people do that, we will make it easier for the person afterwards. And you may think not all projects think like that, especially in open source. And you're right. So a good thing to look at is actually the closed issues and the closed pull requests, not the merged pull requests, the closed pull. See how the project takes on new contributors. Some projects aren't that inclusive. A lot of them are, and they welcome new people. But have a look by looking at the closed issues, or looking at the closed pull requests that aren't merged. That's fine if they're closed pull requests and not merged. But have a look and see if they have said thank you very much for your contribution, but this is not something we want right now. X, Y, and Z. That's fine. But if they close it with no comment, or they close it with this is useless, not interested, then that's probably not a project you want to contribute to. So do check that out. Do your due diligence on the project before you invest your time. And remember, little and often, just get familiar, get involved in the conversation. Someone is more likely to help you on the project if you've been involved in the conversation and added value to the conversation. And asking a question can be adding value. Can you post all links? Yeah, so just looking at the chat. Yeah, just directly share your username, and we'll have a look at the end. I'll get to those. So actually, let's take a break from me talking. Let's go head over to GitHub and have a look. So let's go over here. So if you look on your GitHub, you will have issues. And if you go along to issues, this lists the issues that are created by me, assigned to me, mentioned by me. But ignore that. We can find a label like good first issue, and it's still the ones that I've created. But we can ditch in the search all those filters, and we're now looking good first issue across the whole of GitHub. And you can add another filter if you want. You can add another label like Hacktoberfest, which we'll chat about in a minute as well, because it's coming to the end of Hacktoberfest, but it's still worth mentioning because Hacktoberfest is not just for October. Well, Eddie, you're an idiot. It is just for October, but open source is not just for October. So keep going. Hacktoberfest should be the kind of help you, nudge you to start getting involved in open source. But don't let, when Hacktoberfest finishes, don't let it end your open source career. So yeah, you can look for issues like this. And now I filtered by label. You can also filter by language if you want. You know, you could add so many filters. So for example, C++. Okay, we're not going to do C++. Let's filter by Python. I've now filtered by Python as well as the label good first issue. So do have a look. And when you find a project, look at those closed issues. And I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, oh, you mentioned money. I'm going to get to that. Don't worry. But first, let's think about getting you the career and job and money that you deserve. You know, have those clients, have those companies chase you. I think that would be awesome. Yeah, I'm trying to pay attention to the chat box, so thank you very much. I will miss a few, and you'll just have to copy and paste those later on when we get to it. You know what? Let's take a break and let's have a look. How's the time doing? Oh no, time's running short. We'll take a break at the end, and we'll look at more at some of your GitHub projects. Let me cover a few more areas first. I could talk about open source until tomorrow, and I know you've all got other talks too that are coming up. So I mentioned how to get into open source. I'm just looking at my notes. I'm just trying to skim through and make sure I don't go into too much detail in some of these areas. And you're all project maintainers as well. And you may think, I'm not a project maintainer. I don't have a popular project on GitHub. But if you have customized your GitHub profile, and if you haven't, you should do that today. And it's really easy to do that. You create a repo with the same name as your username, exactly the same. And anything you put in that README will appear on your GitHub profile. And that's important to do. Even if it's small, don't wait until you get your GitHub profile perfect, because trust me, just like any open source project, just like any project, it's never going to be finished and it's never going to be perfect. So even by you in your customized GitHub profile, just put some links to your website, links to your socials, LinkedIn, etc. That's added value already to people who visit your profile. They think, oh, this person's made an effort. And that also gives someone an opportunity to make improvements, make pull requests to your customizing your profile. And so now you are a project maintainer. And this is what I also love looking at people's accounts, because I want to see how you react as a project maintainer. If someone submits a terrible pull request, how do you react? Do you snap back at them and write something bad? Or do you just say, look, thank you very much, but I think there's room for improvement here. Do you try and help them? That's really important for me to see that, because on any project, you need to collaborate with other people in the team. It's very rare you're the only person on a project. So I think that's important to show that. And as a project maintainer, when people raise issues and raise pull requests, you will get an appreciation of what a good issue and a good pull request is. Because you'll raise an issue and you'll just say, oh, I've put the title in, and that person, other people should understand what it means, but they don't. And so when people raise issues to you or pull requests to you, you'll be like, I don't get that, doesn't make sense. And you have a conversation back and forth with the person. And then you're like, you should have just written that in a description. It would have made more sense and saved us both a lot of time. And by you having that, by you going through that pain, you'll do better on your issues and your pull requests. So it's not about, I know Hacktoberfest was about raising 4 pull requests, but in the real world, the rest of the 11 months of the year, it's about raising pull requests that add value, just like Hacktoberfest, but also having a good description. And I don't mean a long description, I mean a good description. Something with tasks that you've covered, what you've included, maybe a before and after screenshot. That adds so much value, makes it so much easier. That's why sometimes people ask me, hey, Eddie, why haven't you reviewed my pull request yet? It was 3 days old, but you reviewed someone else's who's came out an hour ago. It's because they made their pull requests smaller. The smaller the pull request, the better. But also they probably just really made it easy to know, what it's about, what's changing and why. Don't explain the code changes, because I can see that in the files change tab. But explain why you've done it. Did we have a discussion on Discord? If so, like I said, copy and paste the discussion and quote it with Markdown in the description of the pull request. Just make it easier for the maintainer. So if you're not project maintainers yet, you really are by customizing your GitHub profile. It's a really good place to start. Okay, I don't think I've missed too many things in the chat yet. I'm just conscious of time. So yes, you're project maintainers. You all are project maintainers, or you will be very soon when you customize your GitHub profiles. Okay, use GitHub to its fullest. I don't mean you have to use all its features, but do experiment, push the boat out. Some projects use more things, some projects use less. And then hopefully we'll get time in a minute to just quickly run through all those really quickly. Right. Okay, let's go have a look at GitHub. I think we've got time. So let's have a look. So I've shown you this. Let's pick one of our projects. If I go to our support project, and you'll see the tabs across the top, and I'll go through these tabs really quickly, but if you're not familiar and you want to go into more details, let me know and we can dig into more details in the Q&A section. So we have this repo. It doesn't matter really what's in the repo, but the important thing that I want to show you is the first tab you come to is the code tab. And from here, you'll see on top branches. And branches are really important, but also you want to make sure you clean up the branches in your projects, or if you're contributing to a project, make sure you clean up your branches. Because too many branches, they're out of date, are not great. You might have some spikes, some kind of prototypes in branches, and that's fine to keep those. But it's important to use the issues on your projects and other people's projects. Before you raise a pull request, it's good etiquette to raise an issue. Start the discussion before you make the changes, and let people comment and reply. When you raise an issue, sometimes they have templates. You can pick one of these. If it's a bug that you're raising, pick the bug template. If you want to join our organization, use the template to join our organization. Don't use the wrong ones, because again, you're creating more work for the maintainer, and that's why your issue won't get looked at straight away. And also, sometimes these things trigger different actions on GitHub that might automate things. So it's important to read these. If the project doesn't have templates, it will just open a blank template like this. And when you write a title, don't put 500 characters in the title and let it go over like 5 lines. That's awful. Have a concise title, and then in the body, make sure you use Markdown, right? Let's run through some Markdown. You've got it along here. So you've got headings, you've got bold, you've got italic, you've got quote. Quotes are really important. So if there was this was a discussion on Discord, can't pronounce it. I made these changes, right? I made these changes, etc. and so on, right? Make it easier for the project maintainer to understand what it was. Have the copy and paste the discussion into the chat. Into the issue. Make it easier. Mikey, thank you very much for your support. Mikey agrees. You raise an issue, exactly right. It's really important, and add whatever you need. Add the information that you need, but try and think of it from the other person as coming cold to this. As in, if you're referring to other discussions or other things on GitHub or social media, whatever it is, make sure you include links and include a bit of information. Make it easier for the person following. That's really important. And if you want to talk, for example, I want to make these changes. What are the changes, right? List them. Maybe you put a checkbox and say task 1, and then you might say task 2. And the reason why I'm saying that is when you preview it, it can show it like this, and the project maintainer might say, actually, you know what? Do task 1 in its own pull request and do task 2 in its own pull request, rather than one big pull request. Or they might be small enough that the project maintainer might say, do them in one. But most people put too much into a pull request rather than too little. And so that's really important. And when you're forking a project to make a change, make sure, this is the golden rule, like an absolute nugget. There are no excuses and no reasons why you shouldn't do this. Make a branch in your fork. So if, for example, you forked this project, when you looked at it under your own account, it would say main. Never make changes in your fork to that branch, because that's where you'll pull down the changes from the upstream, from the original repo, like the parent repo. So you never want to make changes that you'll have all sorts of conflicts, all sorts of weird stuff that you don't want. Make a branch, call it whatever you want. It's better to call it by the issue number, so like issue -123. And then that's your pull request. And then if you're making a second pull request, like we said for, say, task 2, if it doesn't, this is the next golden nugget, if it doesn't rely on task 1, make a new branch from the default branch, from the main branch. Therefore, both those pull requests are independent of each other. Therefore, the second one might get merged in before the first one, for whatever reason. But it won't bring in all the changes from the first one. If the second task does depend on the first one, then branch from the branch you made for your task 1. But don't just do it because you didn't know what you were doing or because you were being lazy. I see that so often. And not only does it make more conflicts and more work for the maintainer and for yourself, because imagine the maintainer squashes your first pull request or rebases it or whatever, then you're going to have conflicts in your second pull request now. So try and keep them separate if you can. Pay attention to that. Is a good way to name branches? Great question. I like that. So a really good way to name branches would definitely be, I use kind of a traditional convention is, so if we went to name one now, I would say you put your username, then you put the issue number, so issue like 123. I think usually a kind of a good standard. And don't forget your commit messages have standards as well. So if I treat this issue, I create a new issue, but remember, creating a new issue gets you that green square on your activity on GitHub. So it's important to raise those issues and ideas and bugs or validate someone else's bug. But imagine this top bit up here, the title is the commit message. Some people write added file, I don't know, readme.md. There's no value to that. People know from the pull request what file you added. Your commit message needs to add value. And there's things like conventional changelog that have a really good standard. But just to give you a brief overview, there are some things you should know, like feature. Is it a feature? Then you prepend it with feature and you explain kind of what you did, not the exact files that got changed though. Is it a fix? Is it docs? Did docs come in with the pull request? And then you write your message. So I don't know, improved quick start. And then not quick step, quick start. And then put the issue number in at the end, because then on GitHub, it will tie the commit to the issue number. It makes it so much easier for people to navigate between issues, commits, pull requests, and back and forth again. It's really important. How to find a good organization to contribute to. I don't know if you saw the bit before, but have a look. So you can search. I think I've still got the search tab open. So you can search on, if you click issues at the top, you can then search GitHub for issues, and you can change the search to be label whatever you want, like good first issue, and you can add a language if you want as well. But the way to find a good organization, obviously I'm biased, you should come to our organization, obviously, and join the other 221 people in our organization. It'll help your profile stand out as well, because you're a PR organization, and vice versa. But the important thing of finding issues and pull requests in organizations is go look at the closed issues, and more importantly, the closed pull request, not the merged pull request, the closed pull request. Because were they closed with a comment? And sorry for everyone who saw this earlier, but I think it's so important, I do want to repeat it, that was it closed with a comment to say, thank you very much, we're not interested in this feature right now, whatever. And that's fine. Or was it just closed, no comment? And the person contribution doesn't know why it was closed. Did they make a mistake? Was it the wrong idea? No idea. I mean, that's why it's important to raise the issue first. But do check that the project has issues that have been opened or closed with comments from the project maintainer, and do check that closed pull requests have a useful and collaborative comment. That's really, really important. Of course, I'm biased. Mikey, shh, don't tell. Everyone, great questions. Keep the questions coming. I will talk about open source and GitHub until tomorrow, but I'm really keen to answer your questions, dig deeper where you want. So I want to talk about money briefly. So while those questions are coming in, I want to talk about money. So if I go to my profile page, for example, I have a sponsors button, and on GitHub you can apply for the sponsorship program, and that means people can sponsor you on GitHub, and GitHub take no commission. It's a bit like Patreon. They take no commission. So yeah, they take no commission, and the bit that, so these are the people who are sponsoring me. Thank you to all my sponsors. My biggest sponsor is Stephen. Thank you very much. But thank you to all my sponsors. The amount isn't important. $1 is fine. But I'm sponsoring other people. So you probably recognize Praveen from, I think, yesterday, day before yesterday. I'm sponsoring Praveen. And so it's that's how you can make money directly from open source, by getting involved in the conversation, by adding value. So for example, I sponsor people who add value to my community because I want to support them adding more value. And that's really important. This is how you can make direct money. And it adds up, right? If you get $10 from this person, $10 from that person, before you know it, you'll be making, this is monthly. Before you know it, you'll be making kind of, $100, $200 a month for just doing the open source work, which is helping you learn technical skills, helping you learn non-technical skills, helping you grow your network, right? You're getting all these benefits anyway, and you're kind of getting a bit of kind of pocket change on the side to help. Well, it's not pocket change, it's quite a lot of money. It does add up. And that's how you can make money directly. How you can make money indirectly is companies saying, oh, we want help with our open source project. Can you help us grow the community around it? And they can pay you to do that. Let's face it here, right? Open source doesn't care how old you are, where you're from, what you're wearing, what the weather's like. What it cares about is that you visit once in a while. And if you just become active, as you can see me, my graph is not perfect, but I'm fairly active and it's fairly spread out and fairly healthy. And so if you can just get that, I mean, these green squares aren't the important part, but it's people's first impressions. So when people see this, they go, okay, this person's active on GitHub, let me dig a bit deeper. They have sponsors, and they're sponsoring people. So if you have, for example, $10 a month to sponsor someone, don't give it to one person. Give $1 to 10 people, because now you're on their profile, right? These people are on my profile. So when people come to visit my profile, they're finding their profile. So it's kind of like, it is social, just a social network. And if you want to follow me on GitHub, feel free to drop me a follow. There should be a follow button. I don't see it because I can't follow myself. But drop me a follow. You can see what open source projects I'm contributing to. And then you can get involved in discussion there. And if you need any help, then just tag me and we can geek out and collaborate together. I do open source. I'm trying to avoid saying that. I do open source live streams. And I'm really keen in those streams to get you to get your green squares. And so I do find ideas, issues, and bugs, and I get people who are watching, so all of you, to raise issues. So you can raise issues, fix the pull request, whatever it is. I have one of those coming up very soon. And I really want you to get into it because it's like a bug, right? Once you get into open source, you can't put it down. Have you ever watched a Netflix series and you watch the first episode? It's like, and you watch the second one. Okay, this is getting good. I'm understanding the characters a bit more. It's like that. You get into it further and further, and you'll meet other people. They'll help you. You'll geek out with them. You'll get excited. You'll want to do more and more. What's the criteria for GitHub accepting you into sponsorship program, or rather, is there a criteria? There is a criteria, but I haven't known anyone not to get accepted. I think not all countries are supported yet. So if you're in a country that isn't supported, you can still apply. And I recommend that because then that will allow GitHub to prioritize that country to do all the, the banking and accounting and all that sort of stuff sorted. So if it's not available in your country yet, still apply and let them prioritize that better. I can't wait until all countries in the world have this so I can go sponsor more people. Definitely. So it's a really good question. So there isn't a criteria. It does look like there is one, but I haven't had anyone to not get accepted. So definitely get accepted. One of the people I'm sponsoring, I'm not going to say who they are, said, "Oh, I'm not going to apply. I'm not going to get any sponsorship." And as soon as they applied, I said, "Just do it. They applied, and then I sponsored them the next day on a live stream because I think it's important. And like I said, if I had $10, $100 to spread out, I would try and give small amounts from multiple people. I think that's important because you give that person their encouragement to do more. Even $1, you wouldn't believe. It's such a great feeling. To just get that $1 for one person. It's like, oh, that person really appreciates me. So yes, spread it out, and hopefully people spread it out to you as well. Great question, thank you, Mikey. I don't know if I pronounced the name right. Junhee. Hopefully I answered your question about finding a good organization. If not, write more questions in the chat. I love Q&A. It's my favorite part. Definitely. But if there are any other questions later on that you think of, just take a screenshot of this live stream and tag me on socials and ask the question, and I'll definitely reply. Please ask your questions publicly. 2 reasons. 1, I get lots of private DMs. I can't scale. It's very hard for me to reply to everyone on a one-on-one basis. And trust me, your question is going to be interesting to everybody else. 99% of the questions I get are pretty much all the same. So if you ask publicly, not only do you get some publicity, but also I can reply and it can help a lot more people. And you grow your network on socials as well and grow your following on one social network. You can grow it on another social network. And it all just kind of grows and you get involved in the community from there. So the community is kind of everywhere. Definitely get involved in the conversation. Remember, little and often. How to make GitHub bots. Oh yes, I didn't finish showing, where is it? Showing the tabs across the top. You're right. Let's go to pull request. We have talked a lot about pull request. Pull request is like an issue. So if I just create a dummy one now, nothing to compare. But it's like an issue, but you put the branches of going from one branch to another. And if you want to compare across forks, you can then also click this link at the top, and then you can compare across forks like that. You can find your fork and do it that way. So it's very, very similar. Discussions is a new beta feature on GitHub. We have access to that. If you want to join our community, you can get involved in that. Discussions is like, let me find an interesting one, is like an issue, but on steroids, because you can have threaded conversations. So not only do you reply, you can then have some more replies under each reply. So it's really, really awesome. It's really great. You get a lot more participation in this. You can then accept the answers. So we can have a look at these green ticks are the ones that are accepted. These ones haven't been accepted yet. And you can filter by different categories. And you can see who's the most discussions of the week. And it gives you some interesting things. Okay. And then action. So this is with the bot side, GitHub bots, GitHub action. So you can trigger things on on any event on GitHub. It's really interesting, and even run them manually. So let's have a look. This is the tab. This is where they run. But the interesting part is actually in the code base, because it happens in the .github directory under workflows, and it's just a YAML file. Right, let's look at this. So this is a bot. Oh, you can't see it. I'm in the way. Let me move out of the way. Eddie, your big head. So this is how to run an action on GitHub. And there are like 6,000 pre-built actions that you can use, that you can configure just like this. So we're using this action, the stalebot action, and it runs on a cron rather than being triggered by an event. And you don't need to worry about your secret GitHub token, so the bot can put replies to comments and issues, because this is already provided by GitHub Actions. And then this is us customizing the action. These are optional to do it. So if you have a look at the community, this is a custom bot that we wrote. So the community wrote this, and what we do on a fork or on a push to develop branch, or opening an issue, not editing an issue, again, you can customize the triggers as little or as much as you want. We have two bots here. We have the welcome bot, and what it does is on any pull request or any issue, we do a reply, and I can show you what that looks like. So if I go to the issue section, someone's raised 5 minutes ago, invite me to the organization. They've used the correct template, so thank you very much. And you get the right label from using the right template. But you can see the bot, as it says here, the bot has written a reply with some useful links and so forth. So that's how straightforward it was to do that bot. And that bot uses this. This is the bot that we've written. It was written in JavaScript. And we've got another bot that collects statistics of people's reactions and comments. So therefore, we haven't done this yet, but we're collecting all the data, so we can write some interesting kind of graphs and stuff on a UI. We'll do it on a live stream, so you all can join in and participate. And of course, it will be open source. Let's have a look. What are the requirements? Should I know? For GitHub sponsorship, no requirements, just apply. It's a few clicks of a button, I think a bit of information. Just apply. Do it right after the stream. Do we get sponsors for particular repository or entire user? It's you. So you do it for the user. So you have to apply for the user, but then you can add it to your projects as well. So now on here, you can see on this project, I've put the sponsor button up here. But maybe I'll make it a bit bigger and you can see. I've put the sponsor button up here, but that's going to my account. So as a project maintainer, you can choose where the organization and the project sponsorship goes, if it's to yours or to somebody else's and so forth. I got featured. GitHub bot. No, the bot Eddie's talking about is Discord bot. So I was talking about GitHub Actions, where people are asking about the Discord bot as well. We'll probably have that as a separate discussion, but that is in our community. And you could, if you want to look at before we get to that, if you want to look at customizing your profile, GitHub profile page, we've got a project called Awesome GitHub Profiles under our organization. And you can see all these examples, like you recognize a few people here. They've all got great examples of how to customize your profile. And there's some great inspiration. And once you've done an awesome customization in your profile, you can add it to this project as well. Eddie bot is this Discord bot we've written. And what it does is, it's currently using Firebase. We're going to move away to that to Mongo. But what it does, it has certain features where you can assign roles to yourself. If you want to, like technical roles, like open source, you get a reminder every day to contribute to open source, or if you want to add certain technical roles to yourself. So we're adding improvements all the time. We do have a project board if you want to have a look at what we're working on at the moment. Probably a bit out of date, probably updating. Again, this is after the actions. I wanted to show you, use the project boards to have your issues and drag them across between column to column. It's really important to lower the barrier to entry for people to understand your project. And again, this all shows your great organization skills. Even if it's only you working on your project at the moment, definitely organize it well. Create issues for the work you're doing, because when someone reviews your profile, they can see how organized you are. And that's really important when people are looking to hire people. Let's have a look. A leaderboard bot. I want to make one for GitHub. A leaderboard bot. What should I know before making a bot? There's really only one thing you should know. Get started now. Seriously. Just get started. I guarantee you, whatever you do first is not going to be perfect. So just do it. So you can, like, imagine like riding a bicycle. If you look at the bicycle and go, okay, and you've watched some videos on how to ride a bicycle, and you've read some books on how to watch a bicycle. No matter how much you do that, the first time you actually get on that bicycle and ride it, you're probably going to fall off. So my biggest suggestion is just get started. Make it open source from the beginning because other people might want to get involved, and put your issues out there. Raise your issues for the work that you're doing. So if other people do want to get involved, they can see that. And also, it gives you green squares. And also, companies, when they look at your profile, can see that you're organized. So how you'd want other people to contribute to your project, how you would contribute to a company's project, do the same for your project. I might have missed this, but is there a specific language to write GitHub Actions? GitHub Actions, you mostly need YAML if you're using their marketplace. So if I go to the GitHub marketplace and I filter by actions, let's see, there's almost 6,000 actions here, which you can just use with a few lines of YAML. So that's all you need. If you want to write your own custom action, it supports a few languages. I've done it in JavaScript and TypeScript, but I think it supports like 4 or 5 other languages. That number's growing all the time. You would use GitHub API. Yeah, so you could use GitHub API. You could use webhooks on GitHub. You could use GitHub Actions. It depends on what you're doing. The GitHub Actions is free up to like 2,000 minutes, and I use a lot of actions, and I've got nowhere near to that. So it's very, very generous. Oh yeah, great question. Sagnik, hopefully I pronounced that right. Is it free? Yes, they're free for 2,000 minutes. But like I said, I've been working on actions for so many months now, and I've been practicing and trying and making so many mistakes. And I have actions that run on every event on our community organization, on all our repositories. And I haven't been charged a penny. So yeah, I don't think I've even reached a quarter of the usage. It's very generous. And then another beta feature is code spaces. Have you all seen code spaces? Code spaces is VS Code in the browser. It's coming out soon, and definitely going to be a game changer. The annoying thing about contributing to a project in a technology you don't use, or even a technology you do use, you might have a different version of Python or Ruby or whatever it is locally. So yes, you can use things like version managers where you can bump up and down your version. It's still annoying. But the great thing about code spaces is you can do it in the browser, VS Code, and you get a whole development environment on GitHub. Or you also can do it locally on VS Code, but it connects to GitHub and it has all the environment set up. So for example, this one is my open source book tips. It's using Ruby. I don't do Ruby development, but I'm using ASCII Doctor that does use Ruby. And as I open this on GitHub Codespaces, then it just I think it just has everything done for me, and it also reads my dot files. So if you don't know what dot files are, it allows me to configure all the plugins that I want. To give you an example of what dot files are, just really quickly, GitHub ID. And if I go to my repositories, and this is the repo you need to customize your own GitHub profile. So just your repo is the same username as your GitHub username. So the repo name is the same username as your GitHub username, but dot files, by creating this repo with this name, dot files, you can not only sync all your different computers up, and if you reinstall your computer or get a new computer, it keeps all your packages up to date. Like, I don't know, for example, npm global packages, it has all the ones you want, and it has all your VS Code plugins. So for example, if I go to like VS Code, even on code spaces in GitHub in the cloud, it will install all these plugins that I want on VS Code. So my local VS Code will be the same. And even when I use ZSH, it will have all my configuration that I want. So this is what dot files are. And again, you don't have to get it perfect first time. Just start off and build it up over time. Like even my Git config. So I have aliases for doing graphs and stuff on the Git command line. This will just sync across everywhere. So I highly recommend having a look at that and make a project for yourself. It's definitely really good to get into that. What have I missed in the chat? Let me see. And he's doing awesome work. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. The positive feedback really encourages me to do more. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to Hack This Fall's YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so we can do more live streams together. And head over to our GitHub community and our Discord, and we can chat between live streams and videos, and we can geek out on GitHub. You like my t-shirt? I also have, get yourself a rubber duck. One last tip. How are we doing on time, organizers? Hopefully, Eddie has cool t-shirts that he's not sending to me. Mikey, I'll get you a t-shirt. I've actually got another GitHub box, like massive box of swag that I need to open. So I'm sure there'll be something in there I can send across to you. Let me know what size you are in Discord, and I'll see what I can send across to you. But get yourself a rubber duck. Doesn't actually have to be a duck, but get yourself something. When you get stuck, talk through it. The amount of times I phone a friend and say, hey, look, I'm stuck on something, or I message someone on Discord and say, hey, I'm stuck. And by me explaining it, I go, oh, I've just figured out what it is. So get yourself a rubber duck that you can talk to. My rubber duck is actually an octocat. So this is my rubber duck. Let me make it a bit bigger. This is my rubber duck. And I talk to the rubber duck and say, oh, I've got this problem. I'm writing some code and it's not working. What do you reckon? I do this. And then by me talking through it, I usually figure it out. And if the rubber duck or octocat doesn't help, then that's when you kind of phone a friend. By phone a friend, it's kind of, I'm joking, just like ask publicly on Discord or whatever it is, because other people can help, right? There's no point messaging me privately because I'm probably busy. I might be in meetings or away from the computer and I might not have the answers. If you do it publicly, then someone else can help. And, you know, Mikey's actually a really good example of this, where Mikey says, I'm not too familiar with that, but maybe I can help. And Mikey really helps all the time. And he learns something as well. So it's about adding value to the community. So it's really important to get involved in the discussion. And when I fight with this octocat, I also then have, I'll just throw it on the floor. I also have another octocat. This is what I got for becoming a GitHub star. So I have another rubber duck if I need. Okay, cool. Oh, thanks for sharing my YouTube channel again. That's awesome. Let me share the GitHub community as well. I probably won't be able to share it. I have the permissions, but yes, you'll find it from a YouTube video and the links in the description, links to everything on there. Well, hopefully this has been useful for everyone. I've gone over time by like over 20 minutes. So hopefully you're all still awake. We didn't have a look at some of your GitHub profiles. Organizers, do I have a few more minutes? Everyone who's still awake, can you share your usernames of your GitHub in the chat? Let's have a quick look at some of your accounts. Let's have a look. Hopefully the organizers have got a few more minutes. Here we go. We've got one. Brilliant. Let's have a look. You straight away, right? I don't know this person. Okay, I met them today on just before the live stream, but let's have a look, right? They've got a description. Love that. They've got their full name. Love that. They've got a picture of themselves. Again, just you can what's the word? Kind of engage a bit more with the user when they have a profile picture with their face in it. So it's just really important. If you really don't want your face in it, then fine, put a pet or a picture of, I don't know, something. But make sure it's more unique to you. Don't put like the React logo or something, because it's not unique to you. Love it. You got these links here. Love it that you belong to these organizations. Awesome. Looks really, really good. Looks really professional. You're not in our organization yet, so join our organization too. And really love the custom profile. Again, it doesn't matter too much about what's in it. It's just the first impression. Right, now I want to dig deeper, right? Let me look at your LinkedIn. Let me look at your Twitter and all these things. And so I think that's really, really important. You've got pinned repositories. I think that's great. You've got a bit of activity as well. Personally, I'd like to see more, but everyone's different and so on. But I really like that custom profile. You've got 47 repos, which is, again, looks good. Really, really like that. Great positive work there. Okay, next person. Awesome. First impression is pretty good. I don't see a description. I don't see some links to other socials like Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever. So if you could put those in, I recommend that. It's a picture of you, which is great. Hacktoberfest t-shirt. Awesome. And I really like this. Again, you've customized your profile. And because the repo is there, if I saw an improvement to be made, I can then go to your repo and just make an improvement or something like that, or make a suggestion. I think that's really good. Having everything in bold, I think my only suggestion would be, is a personal preference. I'm no designer, but having everything in bold, then I find that nothing's in bold. So I would just have a look at maybe some things punch out more and some things a bit less. Again, a bit more activity would be great. But again, from your pinned repositories, I can see you do Python, PHP, JavaScript, and CSS. Again, which is really good. This repo doesn't add value, I don't think, because it hasn't got a language, it hasn't got a description. Again, I'll add descriptions to Snake as well. But still, looks really, really good. So thank you for sharing. Organizers, how are we doing on time? Hopefully we're doing okay. I'll review a few more. We can go for 5 minutes more as well. So I'm good. Great picture. I feel like I kind of starting to get to know this person already, which is really good. Link to Twitter, like that. It's great. You haven't got a customized GitHub profile yet, so just go create that repo, because then and just create the default. It will fill in some basic default information for you. Just do that, because then someone else could add things for you as well, or you can incrementally make little changes little and often. Again, I'd like to see a bit more green squares, and like that you got pinned repositories. Not a lot of recent activity, so I couldn't dig deeper if I wanted to find out more what you've been working on or else you've been doing. Okay. Ratchet, let's have a look at yours. I think, I saw your invitation to the organization. That's cool. Again, it's got a unique picture. I mean, it's not yourself. I would still recommend having it as you, but it's unique-ish, which is good. You've got a description. You've got a link to your website as well. Let's have a look. Yeah, perfect. That looks really good. Looks awesome. Oh, like this. You've got your projects that you work on. And then here's a picture. See, this makes you stand out from the crowd. This picture, I would put that as your GitHub profile picture. And yeah, I really like this. And you've got a really awesome customized profile. Really, really like that. Really good. Oh, and you're part of our organization. Yay. Yeah, it looks really good. Oh, lots of green. Wow, you're actually beating me on the green. So I like it that it's got a lot of activity, and I can see kind of go look in and dig deep if I wanted to and see what you've been working on, what languages you've been doing. Looks really, really good. Really like that. I like it. Really good. Really impressive. Definitely to add your repo to the awesome GitHub profiles, because this is definitely on there. I really like that. Well done. I'm going to steal some ideas as well. Sahil, I think I looked at yours already. And we've got, here we go. Oh, that's on the other screen. Let me bring this over. Again, really good picture. I feel like I know that person. I think that's great. Description, location, links, brilliant. Loads of organizations. Love that. Really, really good. Like that again. Customized profile is a bit small, but you've got it. So you're kind of in the top like 5% of people already. So that's really good. I would start customizing it more, and every few days, and a bit more information. I think it would kind of slowly grow over time and look really impressive. You don't want it to be too massive. I've seen people do like 3 pages. That's just too much. So then you're just hiding, your pinned repos, you're hiding your activity. So it looks really, really good. Awesome. I like that. I'll make my README super soon. Yeah, you've got it. So just add a bit more. You've got it there so people can, make suggestions or whatever it is, or make request. Ratchet, I did yours. Let's look at Mikey's. Mikey, I haven't looked at yours in a while. Let's have a look. Awesome. So you got, really good picture. So again, I feel like I can relate to that person straight away. And you've got description, location, website as well, Twitter. Oh, brilliant. I like that. Awesome. Really, really good. You've got these highlights, which I think is great. Organization sponsoring. They're sponsoring me. Awesome. Thank you very much, Mikey. And this is your website. It looks really good. I think that's really, really nice. Only thing I'd say is that says July, end of July. So it feels like if you could do one once a month, it would just create a bit more activity. But I really like that. It's really good. And really great picture, right? It's just something really unique and different. It's not, I know GitHub's about code, but it is social side, and I think this is really, really good. I like that. It's just something different, and I'm gonna remember it. So I love this, which is great. Really, really like it. It's good. Lots of Python. So I can definitely see, Mikey's a Python person. Okay, I know that already, but actually seeing that, Mikey, you need more green squares. Mikey, you need more green squares. In like 3 days, you've done no green squares. That's my only suggestion. Otherwise, it looks really, really good. Awesome. Let's have a look. Awesome. Okay, I think it's probably a good place to stop. You've heard from me from an hour. You've probably all gone to sleep. I can see the statistics on YouTube have slightly dropped. We've all fallen asleep now. But thank you so much for listening to me. And thank you very much, the organizers and Hack This Fool for having me on your awesome channel and your awesome live stream. Oh, Mikey, yeah, sorry to hear. Do take it easy. Yeah, our health is more important than GitHub Green Squares. So I'll just tease you about it. But yeah, definitely focus on your health.
So that was an amazing session, Eddie. We definitely loved it, and it was really insightful for beginners and the good like pro people too. So some hackers might not have been able to join this session live, but as the recording is going to be available for all others, if they will have any questions, they will ask on the Discord channel. That is, we have a special channel, Ask Speaker. So please do have a look as and when you get time and try to respond them. Thanks a lot, Eddie.
I
It
will
was
do.
indeed a great session and had a lot to gain.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it too. I love the questions. I always learn something new when I get questions. It makes me think of things in different ways. So yeah, anyone, if you have any questions, tag me. Make sure I don't miss it. Do tag me, and I will respond. And if you want to get green square and you want to practice, then you could always raise a discussion on GitHub potentially as well. I don't know if Hack This Full has any organization or repo on GitHub, raise an issue there and tag me. You get a green square for today. But otherwise, yeah, tag me in their Discord, and I'll definitely come and say hi.
So I have one question from my side.
Sure.
Is there anything you would like to suggest to a hacker that hack this fall through your experience with hackathons?
Sorry, say that again.
Any tips or suggestions that you would like to give to our hackers at Hack This Fall?
Yes. Get hacking today and make sure it's open source. Literally start today. Don't worry about tomorrow, and little and often. So today, if you're thinking about joining a hackathon or doing your own kind of mini hackathon with friends, however you want to call it, then create a repository today. And then tomorrow, maybe raise an issue with an idea. And then tomorrow, raise some more issues with some ideas of things you want to do. And then share those on socials, get some feedback on some of those ideas. And then just get started. Every day, try and do something little. And if it is like an actual hackathon where you've got 2 days to do some work, then do the parts that add value and make sure to collaborate. Get people on your team who have different skills to you. The hackathons I have won have been where I've had a mix of skills on my team. I don't mean like Ruby, Python, JavaScript, whatever. I actually mean different skills. Someone who's good at public speaking, someone who is good at presentation or design, like a designer or a UX person. Then have a couple of people for code. The hackathons I've lost is where we've been 4 or 5 hardcore coders, and none of us have thought about actual presentation or thought about the user. Do think about that. Your projects that you build are for a user, are for somebody else. So yeah, definitely have a think about having a diverse team that is inclusive. That's really important.
This was some valuable suggestions. It would definitely help our hackers. Thanks once again for joining us today. Also,
Thank you.
thank you so much, Eddie. Also, do fill the feedback form shared in the chat section, and it will also be used to assign the certificate for this session. It will be open for only 15 minutes and won't be reopened again. Thanks a lot, everyone who joined us today. Don't forget to subscribe the channel so that you can get the updates for all the workshops coming up ahead. Stay tuned. Hope to see you in the next session. Stay safe. Take care.